Hey guys, welcome back to Cat View. So today I'm going to be doing a full series review. It's been a minute since I've done another series. I had to do this one because I watched it and I just finished the finale and it was just mind-blowing. So I had to do this series. I was actually going to do a review of this series at episode 6. So there were only 7 episodes total. But I was just like, holy crap, and mind blown from before, from enjoying this series for so long already. And I was just like, I need to do a review on this because it's just so good, even though it hadn't ended yet, which is really not normal for me to do. I usually don't do anything until I've seen it completely through, but it was so good. However, I did wait until the finale and I just got off of it, as I said, and it was definitely worth the wait because now I can give you guys a real full recap of the entire series. So I'm gonna do my best to try and recap everything, but it's it's a lot. Like I probably should have done it episodically each week that it came out, but I didn't because I kind of binge watched like 4 episodes in a row, so I kind of was a little bit late to the party. So we are going to be reviewing Mayor of Easttown, starring Kate Winslet, Jean Smart, and a whole bunch of other cast members. It's a very intricate web of characters in this series. So it's a limited series that is on HBO Max. You can check it out there. That's where I watched it. And as I said, it stars Kate Winslet, so she's the lead. She plays Mayor of Easttown, of course. So she plays Mayor, and she's a local detective. Now, it basically revolves around her as the lead that we follow. However, like, there's other stories that I'll get into. So we start off with Mayor, who, by the way, I love Kate Winslet. I love Kate Winslet. She's fantastic. So that was why I wanted to watch this. Anything that she's in, I'm going to check out instantly. So I was like, I'm gonna have to give this a go. And there was a night where I wanted to try something different and just watch something new. I needed some more content. And the new Angie film came out, Angelina Jolie, Those Who Wish Me Dead film came out. And then there was Kate Winslet's Mayor of Easttown. And I was like, I had to pick Kate Winslet. Every time she wins out, she's had my heart since Titanic. I can't help it. I think she's a brilliant, fantastic actress. And I'm always so happy to see her, first of all, but secondly, just like, she is one of those actors that seems to continuously improve on her craft. Don't know how she does it, but she just is brilliant. So yeah, she's fantastic, and fantastic in this show, of course. So we follow Mare. She is a mum. She has a teenage daughter that she lives with and cares for. She also lives with her mother, played by Jean Smart, who's fantastic, who also seems to have a few projects on HBO Max at the moment. And yeah, so she lives with her mum, lives with her daughter. She's divorced, separated. She takes care of her son's son, so her grandson, basically. So we find out quite early on. Again, this is a 7-episode series, so it's a lot crammed into the episodes. They're pretty decent episodes, by the way. I don't know exact times on each one. I think they vary. I'm gonna say like 45 to an hour per episode, maybe 35, which seem to increasingly get longer as we go. I don't know, but that's how it felt to me. So we find out quite early on that Mayor's son, Kevin, had killed himself. So that is pretty tragic. So we find out that she's very cold and closed off, and we kind of see why. She sort of shut herself down and didn't deal with the death of her son, which, you know, is understandable. So her relationship with her mother's not great. You can see there's love there. And her daughter Siobhan, you know, is very sort of disconnected. And at the same time, you know, she's trying to find herself, and, you know, she's basically working on this project about her brother, and she's got all these, like, clips of when he was alive and stuff like that to, like, honor him. And, you know, it's basically just showing you the broken relationships that everybody has as an effect of of Kevin passing away, and how everyone deals with it in their own way. So they don't talk about him, and they don't really discuss anything that happened. It's like everybody sort of shut down, and then, Siobhan deals with it in her way by making this like documentary project inspired by her brother, and she copes a lot better. Rather than Mare who doesn't really cope. She just sort of like shelves it, and then she's basically all about her work, and that's what we follow here. So we kick straight into basically a case of murder, and we follow Erin. So Erin was in the show briefly. I really liked the actress. I liked the performance. So she was in the show briefly, and she's been murdered, and Mare has to investigate and solve the case. So that's basically what we follow for 7 episodes. We're trying to find out who killed Erin and how this went about. Now, the show is first of all, the show is directed really well, produced really nicely, and the cinematography is gorgeous. The immediate thought and feeling that I had when I saw the first shot, and I believe it's like a row of houses. I couldn't unfortunately get screen grabs to show you guys. Normally I put screen grabs up for you guys, and it's really a shame because there were so many beautiful, well done shots, and just the framing, it was just gorgeous, and I wish I could have shown you guys, but you have to watch the show. But the moment it opened up, you could tell that this was well directed, and I love how they made you feel the small town vibe from the cinematography immediately. That's what I got from it. That's my interpretation of it. I got that small town vibe, and then what happens after is anything but small. Like, you definitely feel the interpersonal connections, that everybody knows each other, and you feel this like tight-knit community, but at the same time you understand that everybody has their own problems, and there are definitely many flaws in this town. And we basically follow, like I said, we follow Mare, and she's trying to solve the case, and it's funny because at the start you see how she knows everyone in town and everyone knows her. She's like the local like sheriff kind of, but she's a detective, and she's been there her whole life. At the start we actually see that they've given her like a nickname because she had a really cool shot or something like that. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, so it gives you that tight-knit community, and I think it does that to make it more impactful as to what's happened with Erin. And I personally cared about Erin. I feel like they made you as an audience feel for Erin, and see a bit of her life, and Erin had her son. She just wanted to get his ear surgery, and the crap that she went through with Dylan, and I just felt for her as a character. And then when you see what happens to Erin, you kind of feel a little bit heartbroken. I felt really bad. And then you see, Mare's reaction and the town's reaction, really, because it's like a ripple that goes around. Everyone knows each other, and so it hits hard for people. On top of that, besides following Erin's case, we also see that there's another lady who is terminally ill, who had her daughter has been missing for over a year, and we see that Mare was on the case. It's gone into like basically a cold case almost. And so there's issues there. So there's it's fractured. The community is fractured because even though she's so well known, they rely on her. They expect her to do everything and to just be successful. And she talks about, later on in the season, the series, she talks about the pressure she feels because it's all basically put on her because she knows everybody so well. This is why you don't mix business with pleasure, unfortunately, but, things like this do happen in small towns, and so, she's sort of, called out for her lack of being able to catch the murderer or to catch the kidnapper, because they don't actually know what happened to this lady's daughter. She just is missing still. So, she's presumed dead by Mare, but then she's technically still missing. So, I want to talk about, Erin real quick again. So going back to Erin, there's just so much tragedy that followed her. I felt for Erin and then her whole story. I really liked the performance also by Kenny, who played her father. it was brief, but I liked the moment when, you know, they tell him that she's dead, she's being killed. And I just liked all the Eren stuff. I wish we had more with her. I felt really bad for her character. The worst part of what happened with Eren, besides the actual death scene, which was quite graphic, it's a very raw, like, it really is that cop kind of show. I love cop shows, so this was always going to be right up my alley. So we see the raw death of Eren, but we also see the life of Eren, which was also really raw and also really tragic. The worst part, I think, was, you know, the night that she was killed, the beating that she got. So my least favorite characters, and also my least, the actors I was least impressed with, performance-wise, were the characters of Dylan and Brianna. Brianna was a bitch. She was a character that I really, like, at least Dylan kind of redeemed himself a tad. Toward the end, in one small way, but he was also a piece of shit. But Brianna, I just wanted her to, I wanted her to be punished, but this wasn't that kind of show. Now, in saying that, I know you guys are probably lost already because I've already mentioned a bunch of characters, and this is what's going to happen when you watch this show. It's very intricate, and there's a lot of characters. So, one of the cons I'll say about the show, there's two cons to this show. One is it's a little bit slow. So if you're not a real huge fan of Kate Winslet and just impressed by her accent, which I was, if you're not impressed by that, you know, this could get a little bit confusing. You might get a little bit lost. And it's definitely a slow burn in many ways. And I say that because we definitely explore so many characters' lives. Now, I'm going to give you a throwback reference. If you've ever seen the L Word, it was an older show. In the L Word, and I'm gonna put a photo up of this because this I can get for you guys. In the L Word, there was like a graph, and it was showing the interconnectivity between people, and it was showing how one person connects to someone else, who then connects to someone else, and connects to someone else, and it all somehow leads back to the center, to the first person. And this blew my mind, guys. I only realized this like half an hour ago before I did this. So like I just got off the finale, by the way. I'm doing this like half hour after the finale, when I watched it. So this is what blew my mind. So the first thing, we have all these different characters. Now that's one of the like cons at the same time. There's maybe too many characters. There's probably they could have maybe trimmed a few characters that just weren't necessary, but I feel like they had a lot of like red herring type characters that they purposely put in there. And the thing that blew my mind is that graph that I was referencing just before. Everything, and I didn't piece this together, you guys, this is crazy. Everything, every side story connected to Eren and to solving the case. How fucking mind-blowing is that? You'll understand what I mean if you've seen it. If you've seen the show, you know what I mean. So from the elderly couple, right? We see the elderly couple at the start, and it's funny and whatnot, and then she dies, and then he talks about her mum and the affair and whatever. It all leads back to him. The only reason that couple was put there, the whole thing leads back and gives you the dialogue, because he gets to talk to Mare about the mum, whatever, and you see that in the last scenes. It was all done so it could lead back to the gun, which leads to the killer, right? All these side stories, like we see, like, you know, Mare's ex-husband, that leads to basically eliminating him as a suspect. We see the priest. Like, there's all these side stories that all somehow interconnect with Eren. Even with the lady with cancer's daughter, she was the one who was initially missing. She was basically found. She's alive and reunited with her mum, but she was found because they were investigating Eren's thing. And then from Eren, it led to prostitutes and women, you know, being strangled because Eren had that sort of situation going on. And it led to that, which led them to find Katie, which led them back to eliminating and realizing that Eren's situation was different. And it was just fascinating to me that I didn't put that together while I was watching the show. It was just brilliant. Like, it was so intricately articulated, and they put all these little things. It's like this forest you're going into, and it's like you're getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's just spreading like webs of like characters, and you're like, this character and that character, and what's this storyline, does this mean something? And they put stuff in there, and it seems like it doesn't matter. And like what's his face, the guy that died in the house, I can't remember his name, but that connected, like the woman connected to the mum of Katie, and then that woman's brother connected to the lake where they found out what happened with Erin. I know it sounds like I'm rambling. I feel like Charlie Day in that photo. Fuck. I'm sorry. My mind was just blown when I realized how fucking brilliant it was, and I didn't piece it together when I'm watching the show. I was just so like engrossed in what I was seeing, and I was like everybody else. I think it's like, this feels very much like a murder mystery. Also very similar to the Netflix show Unbelievable with Toni Collette. There are like notes of that in this series, but it is very much its own show, and there's definitely a lot of characters to explore. And it just leaves you, it really is a murder mystery. It leaves you feeling very suspicious, and they'll drop an episode and you're like, what the fuck? And it like gives you a twist, and you're like, whoa, this person wasn't on my radar before, but now they are. And then you're like, I have to know more, and you like want to investigate it. Like, and it kind of puts you in the mindset of you're the audience, but then you also get to experience what Mare would be experiencing. So you get to like, come on, Mare, let's go, like, and you want to investigate. It was just really cool. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun ride. Like I said, it did take a little bit of time sometimes to like kick in. The pace was a bit slow sometimes, but I don't know. I was just like anally like looking at every little detail. So maybe I just wasn't enjoying it as much as I probably should have. So let me talk a bit more about the characters themselves, and then I'll get to the like main story line at the end, because I don't want to give too much of it away. So first of all, I also want to talk about Detective Zabel, played by Evan Peters. I did not fucking... It was weird seeing him playing like a normal dude, like a cop person. Like, I'm so used to seeing him as like Quicksilver and like just playing weird, like out there kind of characters. And look, I'm not gonna lie, like I think Evan Peters has potential, and I really liked him in this role, but like he just annoys me. He's one of those actors that I feel like is always wanting to do more and can't sort of just be still. Like, it kind of just comes off to me like I can see the anticipation, and I can see the process of the acting. So there was a little bit of that threw me off, because I don't know, I'm used to seeing him in different roles, and to me that's how I felt with him as an actor. But there were a lot of redeemable qualities also, so I've got to say I was impressed with some of his performance. You know, he's sitting there next to Kate Winslet, like it's a you know, it's up there. So he held his own, and pretty much everybody did. What I loved about this show is that almost every single cast member brought their A game. It was just really high quality performing, from the child actors to just everybody, even the actors that were in the cast for like 5 minutes of the entire series. Like, it didn't matter that their screen time wasn't that long. They gave their all in their performance. I was very impressed with, like I said, almost everybody except for Dylan and Brianna, not just as their characters, but the actors themselves. I just was not impressed by their performances. So there were a few moments that were super heartbreaking, where I cried so many times. I was not expecting it. I cried a lot. So Kate Winslet, obviously as Mare, grieving her son when we find out how Kevin died. That sequence, brilliant. Like when she gets home, she rushes in and the staircase, and you feel that when she looks up and just collapse. That was just right there in the feels. Yeah, that was pretty heartbreaking. Then the scene where Kevin's yelling at her, trying to get drugs and money, and you see like kind of what their relationship was actually like, and you're like, holy shit, that kind of blew my mind too. you know, because immediately, like, even though she's cold, you want to know more and you want to understand why she's like that. But for me, I'm always going to sympathize and be compassionate toward the lead character because that's who we're following, you know. And she doesn't come off as like a bad person, so you feel the compassion. And then when you see what happened, you're like, oh, wait a minute, like, was she a bad mother? Was she really like shitty? And then you see like her relationship with her mom and like that sort of stuff, and you're like, this is like really interesting to see like how their family tree has been and their history, you know. So yeah, that was really fascinating. Also heartbreaking. The Erin stuff made me cry. The Kenny performance, her dad finding out, made me cry, of course. You know, the loss of a child is always going to be heartbreaking. And again, the performance was there, so that was really upsetting. But then when you realize what happened and you see that John and Billy are there, you're just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm thinking back now to that and I'm just like, that's so fucked up and so messed up. John as a character, can I just say, John is like, I feel bad for their dad. I really like the guy who plays their dad. I've seen him in Chicago Fire. And he didn't have much screen time either. Brilliant actor. I feel bad for the dad because John and Billy are just a piece of fucking work, both of them, just ridiculous. Yeah, so it was mind-blowing to realize like that it was John. That was like the biggest like twist like besides Zabel. And I'm going back again, played by Evan Peters. Now Evan Peters plays Detective Colin Zabel. He's in a lot of the series. Again, it's only 7 episodes. So he's in a lot of it, but unfortunately his character gets killed off, which I was just shook off about. Like, I was just like, holy fuck. Like, I was not expecting that situation. Like, part of me kind of expected him to fuck up, because you could see he was like a rookie, and she didn't have a gun. But, yeah, that whole scene was really cool. That was really, like, scary, and just, like, that really gritty detective cop kind of shit, and it was raw, and it was just horrifying. And it was almost like a horror movie, like the thriller elements were right there. But you could see like him fumbling and nervous and like kind of taking her lead, and I knew that he was going to fuck up something. I did not expect the headshot. I did not expect that situation. I was just shocked. I was upset. I really was starting to like his character, but of course they kissed and it was just like, you had to die off because you're not going to be with her. That's just going to be awkward. Although this show is that kind of show where you could have seen them keep writing it, and like, because the whole show is her fucked up life. Like, there's all these situations that you're like, oh, I'd hate to go through that in real life, and then you see her character go through these horrible situations and how awkward they are and just horrific they are, just depending. Mare's been through some shit, you know, the whole town really, so it's a lot. So they could have, if they wanted to keep him, write it in, but you know, being a limited series, I can understand why they didn't. They definitely could have given a different ending, I think, for those two characters, to like their relationship. But like I said, I liked Evan Peters' performance enough. It's just a shame that he was a cool character. I liked getting to know him. I also felt really upset for Mare when, you know, he dies and she goes to the house to try and like reconcile and apologize to his mum, who just fucking hated her for no reason. And she got basically blamed for his death. And you could see, like, you know, Mare's such a strong person. Like, she really tries to do the right thing by people. And I feel for her. I really do. Like, she's very tortured. But you can see she tries to do the right thing for people. You know, she could have told his mum that it was his job and da-da-da-da. But she didn't. She just took it. She took the beating. And then she went home and she broke down. And, you know, I felt for her then. I felt for her with Kevin. Not just when she saw him and found his body, but like anything that they did when they referenced Kevin for her when she was in therapy, all that sort of stuff. I felt for her. I cried many times. And going back to John, because we tie the whole thing in with Erin, and we see, like, basically we think John's done it, and that was a twist for me. That was a surprise for me, because I didn't think it was going to be John. But then to find out, and this is the dun dun dun, massive spoiler. So we find out it's actually Ryan, his son, his 13-year-old son. And it was just like, holy shit. Like, that, I don't think anyone was expecting that. In fact, I've actually got pulled up the most suspicious suspects. We had Richard, who, by the way, I fucking thought Richard was gonna tie in somehow. I really did. We had Deacon Mark, who was the priest, Billy and John, of course, and then a few others. So, like, it was just like, yeah, I was taken aback. I didn't think it was going to be Ryan. I actually thought, toward the end, I didn't think it was Billy. Because they set it up too easily, you know? There was a lot about this movie that, like, led you. Like, when you saw Billy leaves his beer and he fucks off, and you're just like, okay, Billy did it. Like, she was in his cabin, and da-da-da. But, like, it was too easy. It was too easy, and you're just like, can't be Billy. I thought it was actually Laurie. I thought it was Law, her best friend. I don't know why, I just thought it was her. I was like, that would be a really cool twist. Like, it's kind of, like, involved and maybe, like, whatever. And then when I found out, like, John was sleeping with Erin, I was just like, that was my thought. That was my initial thought. When I found out it was John, not Billy that killed her, I was like, oh, his wife killed her. And John's covering up for his wife because she's the mother of his kids. And, she found out it was actually Erin, not the other lady that she thought it was. Because all we see with Ryan is that he tells her it's this previous affair that John had. And so I'm like, oh, it was fucking Law. Like, that would be a great twist because it's her best friend, and, like, that makes so much more sense, Like, she found out it was actually Erin John was sleeping with, not the other lady. So she kills Erin. I was like, that would have been a cool twist. But fuck me, they did me dirty. They did me one better, you guys. It was her son and his son. I was so not ever expecting that. I felt bad. I kind of probably think I would have liked it better if it was Law. However, we wouldn't have got that amazing, stellar performance with Law and Mare. Like, especially that scene where she gets back into her house, and, like, when she's crying in the car, I feel heartbroken for her. She's lost her son. And Ryan's so sweet and innocent, and it was an accident. He didn't mean to. He's just trying to help his family. He's just a scared boy that made a mistake. You feel for the family. You feel for Ryan. I fucking hate John for doing it. You know what I mean? He's the reason all of this is gone. And Mare's just doing her job, and she, again, cops shit and loses what's important to her best friend of her whole life. But that scene where she goes, not in the car was heartbreaking too. And I felt for Law in that situation. I felt for both of them. And you see Mare's, like, pain when she has to do what she does with Ryan. But the scene where she finally goes back into her house and, like, they hug and you see, like, Law just absolutely collapse. And she's just exhausted from crying and exhausted from trying to keep it together. And she's just done. And she just falls and just... Mare just, like, cradles her head, like, and she's just done. Like, she's lost her son, and yeah, you just feel for her. Like, I just felt really bad for Law. I felt bad for Mare. I felt bad for everyone. And you just see this, it's such a tragic situation. So there was a lot of that in this show. This show is intense, you guys. It's intense. It's a drama. It's a murder mystery. At times it feels like a thriller. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. Packed into, like, a 7-part thing, basically. It's crazy. I enjoyed the show. I really did. I wish they would do another one. I really do. I want to see her come back as this character. I want to see a different case, maybe. I would really love it if it wasn't just a one-time, because it's a limited series. So I really want them to just do it again and show us something different, like, I don't know. I just want it to work. Now, like, a Guy Pearce character I wasn't really into. I don't care if he comes. I think he can just stay away. He doesn't need to come back. They ended it in that way that is like, we'll see what happens, and we can just never meet each other again. That could be what happens. Siobhan's gone away, although I did enjoy her performance. There were some moments that were like, holy shit. Like, Dylan and the baby scene in the hospital. That had my heart racing. This is a nail biter kind of show. You're just constantly anxious. You're on your fucking edge of your seat, and your nerves are just wrecked by the end of this each episode. Like, you're like, holy shit, but then your mind is blown and you're intrigued and you're like, I have to see more. So this shows a lot. This shows a lot, guys, but I really liked it. The finale was really good. I really hope they do another series. I would love to see these characters come back. I feel like Kate Winslet's going to get an award of some sort for this performance. I think Jean Smart as well. She was very good. I wouldn't be surprised if she's nominated for something. At least nominated. Like, maybe they don't win, but like at least the nomination, because the performance was great. But yeah, I hope to see this. I hope to see another season of it. We'll see how we go. You know, hopefully it's popular enough and HBO will bring it back. So we'll see. But yeah, what did you guys think about it? I hope you watch this show, Mayor of Easttown on HBO Max. You can binge it. You know, it definitely kicks in to a higher gear around episode 3. So it's like this. So, you know, you're going to be like ups and then downs and then ups again. So it's going to pull you, you know, and yeah, it's just a Puppet Master kind of TV show. But it's really good. I highly recommend you guys watch it. It's brilliant, and I would love more people to watch it, so more people talk about it and do things like this that I'm doing, and, you know, and then we can maybe get another season. That would be great. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.